folks are languishing. That, you know, I think a lot of people, you know, from the Vietnam era on, have had the idea that maybe our veterans aren't getting what they want, what they need in a timely fashion. Vietnam sort of overwhelmed the nation at a time when we had drawn down from World War II and the Korean War. So that idea is there, but I don't think the public fully appreciates the condition that our veterans find themselves in today. Again, the system is overburdened. A lot of the things that they use to track and take care of these claims are antiquated. A lot of the systems and technologies were ones they used back in the Korean War. The computer age has not come to the Veterans Administration fully enough. And again, you know, we're harvesting from the battlefield an awful lot of folks that, you know, quite frankly, would have perished in previous wars. Therefore, we have more people with more complex issues. So folks need to know that their kids, their family members, deserve everything that they were promised when they put on the uniform of the United States military. And this resolution seeks to bring attention to that. And of course, from the state level, there's nothing we can do to make the VA do anything, but we can sure put the spotlight on the situation and urge that the right thing be done. And it is significant for you, I think, to see that we have folks here that all worn the uniform, and most of us for quite a long time.
What exactly would you like to see done in Washington, and what do you attribute these increasing caseloads to? Is it more soldiers coming home from Iraq and Afghanistan, the sequestration?
No, you know, I don't think it's so much sequestration. I mean, you know, you hear an awful lot about sequestration. Maybe it plays a role, but this problem was there before sequestration. Would you all agree with that? But definitely, the types of wounds that were occurring on these battlefields. You know, we're dealing with an asymmetric enemy, and we've heard that before, where, you know, we're not lining up toe-to-toe and dueling because the battle will be over in about 5 minutes if we did that. Therefore, the enemies that we fight on the battlefield today hide in the shadows, creep out with ambush weapons, which our soldiers are very, very vulnerable to. Our United States military has adapted admirably to this threat. I was in theater in 2004 when we were just improvising armor to put on our vehicles because we were suffering from improvised explosive devices. So we were welding on sheet metal. I remember they put me in a Hummer, the first encounter I had with this type of vehicle, and someone had to put their knee up against it to close it, and it wouldn't come open unless someone opened it from the outside. And, you know, I'm thinking, this isn't a good place to be. And so we evolved our machines over the period of that war till we had some pretty good armor. But then the enemy also evolved their techniques and their weapons to the point where virtually anything you're riding in, you're very vulnerable. There's almost nothing you can strap yourself into and roll in that will withstand 105 millimeter howitzer shells wired together and rigged to blow up. Therefore, the folks come back with severe burns, missing limbs. We also diagnosed traumatic brain injury better now than we ever have. The United States military has evolved new helmet technologies that recognize what this stuff is. But because we diagnose it, we now need to treat it. And that's separate from post-traumatic stress disorder, which we know that an awful lot of people get when they go into very traumatic situations. So we have a wealth of injuries coming off the battlefield that we really haven't had before at a time when the system's already overburdened, stretching back to the Vietnam War era.
So what are you looking at Washington lawmakers to do then? To increase appropriations to the VA, to increase personnel, to get a new computer system?
If I were in charge, or if I had a magic wand, I'd just fix the VA. The VA is there as a promise. You know, when you talk about a brand, like if you get a bottle of Coke, okay, and you open the Coke, you expect the Coke to taste the same way every time. If you go to Georgia and you buy a bottle of Coke, you pop that open, you drink it, that's Coke. Well, the VA is a brand, and the brand is only as good as the fulfillment of the promise. The promise that we make is that we will care for our veterans, that they will not languish and suffer. So we need to fix the VA, and I think our resolution goes to the heart of that.
What does it, would you guys like to see any certain actions being taken by Congress or President Obama?
Whatever it takes. So if my magic wand failing, what I'd like to see is them take decisive action. And I'd like to see the president, the president is the commander-in-chief. There are a lot of things the president does, doesn't do, ceremonial, whatever. The important thing that the president of the United States does, he presides over the United States military. He is the commander-in-chief. It is incumbent upon him, it is his personal responsibility to look after his troops in the field and to look after them after they return from the battlefield. So, the President, the Congress, whoever it takes, all we're trying to do is illuminate the problem and ask them to do something decisive.
And I